Traditional environment. In a traditional project management environment, scope management is a structured process that follows a sequential and linear approach. Here's how scope is managed in a traditional environment. Project initiation. Clearly define the project objectives, deliverables, constraints, and assumptions during the initiation phase. Identify and involve key stakeholders to gather their input on the project scope. Scope planning. Develop a comprehensive scope management plan that outlines how the scope will be defined, verified, and controlled throughout the project. Define the work breakdown structure, WBS, to break down the project into smaller, manageable components. Scope definition. Clearly document the project scope, including what is included and what is excluded from the project. Establish criteria for determining project success and acceptance. Scope verification. Obtain stakeholder approval and sign-off on the documented scope. Ensure that the project team and stakeholders have a shared understanding of the project scope. Scope control. Implement a formal change control process to manage any changes to the project scope. Evaluate proposed changes against the project's objectives, constraints, and overall impact. Communication. Maintain open and transparent communication with stakeholders regarding the project scope. Address any scope-related issues or concerns promptly. Documentation. Maintain detailed documentation of the project scope, including any changes that occur throughout the project life cycle. Update project documentation to reflect approved changes and ensure alignment with the project's objectives. Monitoring and reporting. Regularly monitor the project's progress against the defined scope. Provide regular reports to stakeholders, highlighting any deviations from the planned scope and the corresponding actions taken. Risk management. Identify potential risks related to the project scope and develop mitigation strategies. Monitor and address scope-related risks to prevent negative impacts on the project. Closure. Ensure that all project deliverables are in alignment with the approved scope. Conduct a final review with stakeholders to confirm that project objectives have been met. Agile environment. To sum up, successful scope management in a traditional environment requires dedication, discipline, and continuous effort. By employing these strategies and adapting them to your specific project needs, you can effectively control the scope and ensure project success. In an agile environment, scope management takes on a more flexible and iterative approach to accommodate changing requirements and enhance adaptability. Here's how scope is managed in an agile environment. Agile planning. Conduct initial high-level planning with the understanding that details may evolve. Prioritize features or user stories based on business value and stakeholder input. User stories and backlog. Express project requirements as user stories, which are concise, value-driven descriptions of functionality. Maintain a product backlog, a dynamic list of features or user stories prioritized by the product owner. Iterative development. Work in short development cycles or iterations, sprints, typically lasting 1 to 4 weeks. Deliver a potentially shippable product increment at the end of each iteration. Continuous feedback. Encourage regular collaboration and feedback from stakeholders, including clients and end users. Adapt and refine the project scope based on feedback received during and at the end of each iteration. Scope flexibility. Embrace changing requirements, understanding that they are a natural part of the agile process. Allow for adjustments to the project scope during the development process. Continuous prioritization. Regularly review and reprioritize the product backlog based on evolving business needs. Focus on delivering the highest priority items first. Minimum viable product, MVP. Define a minimum viable product that includes essential features needed for initial release. Additional features can be added in subsequent iterations based on feedback and priorities. Adaptive planning. Conduct adaptive planning sessions before each iteration to adjust priorities and scope as needed. Keep planning sessions collaborative and involve the entire Agile team. Incremental delivery. Deliver incremental releases of the product, allowing for continuous value delivery to stakeholders. Each release may introduce new features or improvements based on changing requirements. Continuous improvement. Conduct regular retrospectives to reflect on the Agile process and identify areas for improvement. Implement changes to enhance the efficiency and effectiveness of the Agile approach. Agile tools. Utilize Agile tools, such as digital boards and tracking software, to manage and visualize the product backlog, progress, and scope changes. Customer collaboration. Foster continuous collaboration with customers and end users throughout the development process. Solicit their input to ensure the product aligns with their evolving needs. In an Agile environment, the emphasis is on adaptability, collaboration, and delivering incremental value. The Agile framework accommodates changes to the scope, allowing